Alright guys, let's talk about Saw 6 and continue on with my Saw franchise reviews. And as you may know, rewatching these, I've really enjoyed almost every single one of these. The only one I didn't enjoy rewatching was Saw 3. So, going into Saw 6, I've heard from other people that they really love it. Derek from Derek's Horror Corner really was telling me that he loved it. And I, watching this one in particular, I thought that this one, like he said, really was a great Saw movie. And overall, I thought that this was great, but let's get into the opening trap, which is one of the best opening traps, I think, in any of the films, where these two people have to cut off their body parts to throw into a weight to where if whoever has the most blood shed will survive. And this one woman just cuts her arm off, and this other guy is cutting the literal fat off of his body, and just they throw him through tubes to have a weight scale. And that is one of the most disturbing and horrifying scenes in any Saw movie, and I love that trap. That's so creative but so incredibly disturbing, and it's hard to watch, but I really love that. And the effects are just nasty watching it. So I really love that opening kill, and all these sequels do the opening traps, and I thought that this one was the best one, I think, out of all these sequel opening traps. Now, starting out with the main story, I loved how they brought back Perez, and she was hidden, she survived, but they hid her from people knowing, which is just a sequel thing, oh, this person reappeared even though you thought they were dead. But she comes back, and I thought that was cool because she is one that knows that Hoffman is up to no good. So I really think that's really awesome, because then this movie is Hoffman trying to stop whoever is going to tell the secret, because Hoffman had that letter saying that somebody knows who he is, and I thought that that is really cool that they bring back Perez, so then it's even more of a threat to Hoffman being realized who he is as the new Jigsaw apprentice. And I thought that that was really awesome. So he's so afraid he's going to be figured out. And I like how Jill is back again, but the weird thing is Jill has this dumb hallucination scene, which I don't like. I thought it was just really weird because she has this weird hallucination of John Kramer and Amanda telling her that what John is doing is right, and he saved Amanda, and Amanda's like, yeah, I'm cured. And it's just a weird hallucination scene, because of course they're both dead, and it's not a flashback, it's just Jill imagining that they're alive. And it's weird. It's just a very strange, cheesy scene, and that's one of the only weird things in this movie that I didn't really like. But it's just a very strange scene. I didn't understand. I mean, I understand the point of it, but it was done cheesy that moment, I think. Even though it's good to see Shawnee Smith back, she's been in flashbacks in all the movies, but she hasn't been her actual physical self since Saw 3. So I think that's really cool. Now, the villain of this movie is Easton, who is this horrible person who rigs health insurance, and he's the one put into the trap with all his employees put into traps. And I think that that actually is a cool idea, because it is pointing out how fucked up it is with health insurance, and how you can have a little bit of a problem and you can not get health insurance. And I think that this guy is just despicable, horrible. Just the way he describes how he has health insurance planned is basically deciding who lives and dies, and that's what John Kramer says later to him in the flashback in the movie. But he has this trap where he's first trapped at the beginning, and there's this trap that's really, really cruel, where he and this other guy are rigged on this thing where the other guy has smoked for his whole life and Easton has not. And they both have to not breathe, and if they breathe, then the apparatus around their bodies will crush their chests. And that just is screwed up on its own fact. I think that's just insane. It'll clamp down on their stomach, and I really love that scene. That is great, and really love that first of him being trapped with that other guy. It's horrible and despicable, but it's just so creative. And I'm going to get into that flashback I was talking about with John Kramer and Easton, where Easton tells John Kramer like how his health insurance works, and John Kramer calls him out and saying, "You're basically telling people who's gonna live and who's gonna die. You're having the power to control that." And Easton like hesitates and like stutters and goes, "Oh, it's this way," and like you know that John Kramer calls him out and immediately understands that you're doing this horrible thing. So I still like that about John Kramer because he is this villain who is despicable, but like he does it in a way for the most part where people really truly deserve it. Like even though I don't condone like killing, but it's like what the people he chose, like this Easton guy who is taking lives away from people who aren't healthy enough to have health insurance. Like that makes sense, and I do like that. And I did like how we go back into more scenes with Hoffman and flashbacks because again we brought back Shawnee Smith as Amanda and they use her to a new potential, which is really cool. Where she and Hoffman are in the same scenes together in a couple scenes before, like in the third movie. But you don't see it in the third movie. It's like right before the scene starts in some scenes in the third movie. So I thought that was pretty creative. And I like how Hoffman and her are at odds and she says that she's going to be here for a long time. And then Hoffman says, "Are you sure about that?" And then, wah, wah, Amanda dies in Saw 3. So it's like she doesn't last that long. And she says that line in the flashback to 3. So it's funny that she says that and then she dies. So, wah, wah, on her behalf. But I do like those scenes with Hoffman too. I do like how Hoffman is one of the coolest characters I think in the Saw movies. I think that he is awesome. He is despicable and horrible, but he is a fantastic replacement for John Kramer in 4, 5, and 6. Like he and 7. He's really just a charismatic guy and he's got a great performance. And he's so despicable. His character is horrible, but I like his performance. It's so good. Now, back to the traps. There's another trap I want to talk about. The Circle 6 shooter where, like, it's a trap where they're like, on a merry-go-round kind of thing. And, like, it's a 6 shooter, so, like, he's got to pick a couple people because it's explained that, like, something with the health insurance, like, it's 2/3 of, like, people don't get it. So, like, 2/3 of them are going to die. And I thought that was very cool. And just horrible, and like Easton literally has to choose by having his hand clamped down on this thing where like it'll shoot the person that it's pointed at. So he has to decide to kill 3 out of 6 people, and I think that is horrifying that he has to do that, even though he's a horrible person, and really like that a lot. And then by the end of the movie, like I said with Hoffman, realizing that he's gonna be revealed as who he is, like there's this great scene where like Perez is there and that other guy is there that I forgot what his name is, but that other detective type of guy. But they realize with the sound tapes they're about to realize it's Hoffman. And Hoffman goes crazy and just kills all of them right there and kills Perez in a horrible way. Like he stabs her in the chest like 5 times and starts pushing in on her chest with a knife and says like, "Anybody else know?" or whatever. And then she just snits and gets killed, and it's horrible. Like Perez got a horrible death and it's so sad. And it's one of those deaths that wasn't by trap. It was like Hoffman killed them all just immediately. And then I like the twist that Jill had the reverse bear trap, and also whenever like she had the reverse bear trap, but also I liked how Amanda actually technically did kill John and Jill's baby, because Hoffman wrote about it in a note that Amanda in Saw 3 saw and cried at, and you didn't read the note in Saw 3, but it's about the note that Amanda, who was a druggie, had this other druggie, and he slammed in the door and slammed Jill in her pregnant stomach and killed the baby. So Amanda is responsible for John and Jill's baby being killed. And I thought that was a great twist, and that was so cool. And that in the end of the movie, Jill had the reverse bear trap in the box, and she puts it on Hoffman. And then Easton, like by the end of the movie, he gets, because there's Easton and these 2 other people left, a mom and her kid, and he basically killed the father. And what happens is that the mom's like, I can't kill him, I can't kill him, and the kid's like, I can, you killed my father, and like he pushes down this bar that like makes sulfuric acid go inside of Easton's body, and you just see his whole body deteriorate and melt, and just half of his body falls to the ground and rots. Like, it is such a rewarding ending for that piece of shit character to get killed. But then I love that while this is happening, Jill has Hoffman in the bear trap, but Hoffman breaks, since he's so smart and has used the bear trap and has made it, breaks it off, but breaks half his jaw in the process. Half his jaw is just gone, and like he breaks it off before it clamps, and you see it just sitting on the door, and it snaps right there, but he's not in it, and he survives. And the end of the movie ends on a cliffhanger where I thought that was perfect, because it ended on a note where it gave me all that action, it gave me all that suspense, it gave Easton that perfect way to go, and it gave new hints and new twists to like what happened with the rest of the story, with Amanda having the note, with Jill having the reverse bear trap, with Amanda accidentally killing Jill and John's baby. So I thought that all that is just so creative and so cool, and I thought this was one of the best Saw sequels. Really, this one was awesome. I really loved this one. So that's my review on Saw 6. Tell me down below if you like the movie. If you like this, check out my links down below in the description to Twitter, Patreon, Letterboxd, my Facebook group, Horror Enthusiast 101, and my Facebook page. And tell me down below what you think of the movie. I really want to hear your thoughts, and thank you guys so much for watching.